and welcome. I am Amarachi Ubani. Tonight, President Muhammadu Buhari meets with governors and leaders of the All Progressives Congress in London. Members of the delegation are optimistic the president will soon return to the country. Police arrest 5 Boko Haram suspects in Kano, including a dismissed Air Force officer, just as military troops kill 3 female suicide bombers in Borno State. Osun State Police arraigns a 39-year-old Omotayo Salawudeen for alleged complicity in the murder of her husband. An Israeli embassy in the Jordanian capital comes under attack, leaving at least 1 person dead. Tonight in the United Kingdom, where President Muhammadu Buhari has been on medical vacation in the last 77 days. The president today met with some governors and leaders of his party, the All Progressives Congress, at the Abuja House in London. Imo State Governor Rochas Okorocha, who was part of the delegation, told presidential spokesperson Femi Adesina over the phone that the president was very cheerful and has not lost any bit of his sense of humor. The governor said the party delegation spent more than an hour with President Buhari over lunch, and it was very clear from the discussions that he followed developments at home very closely. Governor Okorocha said President Buhari also sent his best wishes to Nigerians. Governors Umaru Tanko Al-Makura of Nasarawa State, Nasir El-Rufai of Kaduna State, Yahaya Bello of Kogi State, and APC National Chairman Chief John Oyegun were part of the delegation. Presidential spokesman Femi Adesina is on the line now from Abuja. Mr. Adesina, thank you for joining us on the news at 10. Well, this meeting by the president and the governors of the APC, do you think this helps to douse, some of the agitations in some quarters about whether the president is ready to continue in leading Nigeria, and does it also douse tensions in Nigeria concerning the president's health?
We had said our president was getting better, and as soon as the doctors give a green light, he will be back home. So for those who believe, there's no problem. It's just a reinforcement of what they had always believed. But for those who had been purveyors of falsehood and hatred and enmity, I think their credibility, if they had any, is what is now on life support.
Mr. Adesina, from what the governors told you, apart from saying the president was cheerful and had not lost a bit of his sense of humor, did they say anything about the status of the president's health? Did he look better? Did he look like he was willing and ready to come back any time now?
Yes, Governor Okorocha was emphatic that, yes, the president was looking very healthy. And all that remained was for his doctors to give him a clean bill of health, and then he will be back home.
Ask here why the president chose to meet with the governors of the APC and not an official, address to Nigerians that could probably record it and played back probably here on Channels Television. Why did the president choose to meet with APC governors instead of addressing Nigerians directly?
It's a matter of choice. And don't forget that you have an acting president in the country. When you have an acting president, then you don't necessarily need the president to begin to address Nigerians and make a broadcast again. There's no vacuum in leadership, no vacuum in government.
But don't you think this will help convince the many Nigerians who feel that the president is really not well and is not capable of continuing in the position as president?
Well, some people choose to remain cynical. It's their cup of tea. Because this is a government that has always leveled with Nigeria. That has always told them the truth. So if they choose to remain cynical, then they're welcome to it.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Femi Adesina. We do wish the President all the best as he recovers in London, and we look forward to those governors coming back to give us more on their meeting with President Muhammadu Buhari. I've been speaking with the presidential spokesman, Femi Adesina, who spoke with Imo State Governor Rochas Okorocha, who was at that meeting in London with President Muhammadu Buhari alongside other APC governors and the APC National Chairman, Chief John Oyegun. In other news now, acting on a tip-off, the Kano State Police Command says it has arrested 5 suspected members of the Boko Haram group at Gayawa area of Ngogo local government area of the state. The state police boss, Rabiu Yusuf, who confirmed the arrest, however, says the terrorists did not give in easily as they engaged men of the Nigerian police in a gun duel that left some of the officers injured.
Since the Nigerian military announced the fall of the Sambisa forest, Nigerians were also put on red alert to look out for members of the notorious Boko Haram group who may have escaped. This may have paid off in Kano as the police got a tip-off about some men with not so noble intentions. They were said to be planning attacks on places of worship, among other targeted places.
The Kano State Police Command this morning at about 0200 hours arrested 5 suspected members of Boko Haram terrorists at Gayawa area of Nasarawa local government area of the state. The suspects were arrested following an active intelligence from the Nigerian police force indicating that the remnants of Boko Haram terrorist group who escaped from Sambisa forest have started regrouping in some states in the north, including Kano State.
Although several arms and ammunition were recovered from the group, the police say these 5 may just be part of a larger group.
All the suspects confessed to be active members of the Boko Haram terrorist group that involved in several killings of innocent Nigerians in Kano and other northeastern states. They equally volunteer confessional statements indicating their planned attack about to be carried out in Kano.
While the police in Kano celebrate this achievement, vigilance may still be the watchword for the residents of the state. This is because information sharing is crucial if the fight against insurgency is to be won completely.
Now reports from the 103 Battalion Operation Lafia Dole says the Nigerian troops have ambushed Boko Haram terrorists at Mianti village in Borno State. The members were neutralized by the troops and several items, including assault rifles, were recovered from the terrorists, while many of them were also surrendered to the military. In another development, 3 female suicide bombers trying to infiltrate their location at Kawuri Konduga local government area of Borno State have been neutralized by the military. The female suicide bombers, who were on obvious mission of committing mayhem, were spotted by a vigilant sentry just as they were trying to access the military location. They were, however, challenged severally but continued advancing, declining several warnings to stop. Consequently, the troops neutralized them instantly. Their bodies have since been evacuated from the location. Now, Lagos State is preparing to have elected grassroots leaders in the first in 5 years, but activities leading to this development has gained everyone's attention, even beyond the state. From barred candidates to primaries results contention, the local government polls in the state registered its fair share of controversies. After the polls came the results, but that appears not to be coming as expected. Our political correspondent, Shimoki Maloye, reports on the update of the exercise.
Barely 24 hours after polls closed in Saturday's local government elections in Lagos, which some say had a very low turnout of voters. As if that was not low enough, protesters are back on the streets with their placards. They say they smell foul play.
We are just telling LASEC that this election is marred by irregularities, and Accord, as a political party in Lagos State, we are not we are not in consonance with any release or any result that will emanate from a process that was fraudulent in nature. Because as I speak to you, yesterday as at 2 p.m., there was no ballot paper in most of the polling units, which most of the area commanders can attest to it. So our court party, our position is very clear. We are not in support of any result that might be released by the last year.
Many of the protesters also claim that the elections were fraught with a lot of irregularities and accused the police of bias. But the Lagos State Commissioner of Police, Fatai Osheni, says more than 100 persons were arrested during the exercise.
It's a 160 million plus. That is the money they want to give us. And we say no.
The Electoral Commission says it went back to the field to complete the elections in a few areas on Sunday as results continue to be put together. There is yet to be an official statement on the conduct of the election from the chairman of the Lagos State Independent Electoral Commission, Justice Ayotele Phillips, but the preliminary results show that the ruling APC has retained its dominance of Lagos politics after sweeping the votes in most of the local governments announced so far. Election monitoring agencies have also expressed their disappointment that electorates failed to show up at the polling units to elect those to represent them at the grassroots level. The low turnout in Saturday's local government election has also raised some questions about participatory governance and voting behavior in Nigeria. Sean Akimaloye, reporting for Channels Television News.
Joining me now on the news at 10 is Justice Ayotunde Phillips, who's the chairman, Lagos State Independent Commission. She joins us via Skype. Thank you, Justice Phillips, for joining us on the news at 10. I appreciate your being here tonight. What's the latest with the results of the exercise?
Well, we're just waiting for results from one local government, and as soon as that finished being collated, then we'll reduce the results. That's the reason why I couldn't come in tonight. I'm waiting in the office now for the final results to be collated, and then we'll release them to the press.
Well, this is like a long night for you. You went back to the field to conclude elections in some areas. Why and what is the outcome?
Just one area. That was Agbado Okay, I think, so one of the LCDs, and that was concluded this afternoon. That was because there was a mix-up with the voting materials, and it didn't get to that particular ward. So that's why that had to be done again today. And it's been done, and the results are now being collated, and they'll soon be out.
Do you feel satisfied with the conduct of the polls?
Well, you can never be really 100% satisfied. At least, like I've heard complaints, but you know the weather wasn't really much in our favor, and our logistics. We had a little bit of a problem getting some of the materials to some of the areas, but by and large, I think for our first attempt as this commission, we did our best. We did our best, but there's still room for improvement, definitely. And they say when one election ends, the preparations for the next one starts. So we're going to learn from our mistakes, and we'll improve as we go along.
Well, observers say the voter turnout was quite unimpressive. They blame it perhaps on the weather. But do you think that could also have been the fault of some of the candidates, as many people really didn't know who they were voting for?
Precisely. Like, apart from the weather, the voter apathy is at its lowest right now. And we're trying to tackle that. We've only had a year to work on that, and we're still going to work on that some more. But then the candidates really need to do a door-to-door. Like, even where I live, no candidate came to knock on my door to tell me he was proposing to be my chairman or my councillor. And we need to ask them questions. And all my friends, most people I know complain that they don't know who they're voting for, so they won't even bother to come out and vote. And I really couldn't argue with them for that. So it's on both sides, really.
Yeah. Justice Ayotunde Phillips, thank you for joining us again on the News at 10. Wish you the best tonight as you remain in your office, awaiting the results. And part two, after the break, factions of the People's Democratic Party in Kwara State bicker over the party's authentic leadership in the state. That's the moment. Please join us again.